She walked into the small-town garage like she owned the world. The arrogant billionaire, Eleanor Hart, stood in designer heels and sunglasses worth more than the mechanic's entire workshop. A black luxury sedan gleamed behind her, but her glare was sharper. The poor mechanic, Liam, looked up from the engine he was working on, wiping his hands calmly as she approached with fire in her eyes. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum. You touched my car, didn't you?" she snapped, pointing at her sedan. Liam blinked in confusion. He hadn't even gone near it. He'd been fixing a tractor for a local farmer all morning, but Elena didn't want explanations. She wanted someone to blame. "Don't lie. I saw fingerprints. Who else would dare touch a billionaire's car?" Her voice cut through the air. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Liam swallowed his irritation. He had seen people like her before, rich, entitled, always assuming the worst of someone who worked with their hands. Still, he stayed calm. "Ma'am, I didn't touch your car," he said quietly. "Someone might have brushed by it in the lot." But Elena wasn't listening. She scoffed and walked around the car dramatically, inspecting every inch as if searching for imaginary damage. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." A few customers nearby exchanged uncomfortable looks. She continued loudly accusing him of scratching the paint, of tampering with her tires, of leaning on her doors. Liam felt his ears burn with embarrassment, but refused to raise his voice. "If you want," he said gently, "I can check the car for free just to ease your mind." She rolled her eyes, "As if I'd let someone like you touch it again." "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Her words stung, but Liam swallowed every bit of frustration. He returned to his workbench as she kept ranting on the phone to someone, likely complaining about uncultured small-town people. But fate had its own sense of justice, and it didn't wait long. Clouds rolled in quickly, and minutes later a loud boom shook the ground. The billionaire's car alarm shrieked violently. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Elena jumped in fear and spun around. A massive tree branch, split by lightning, had crashed right across her luxury sedan. The windshield was shattered, the roof dented in, and the door hinge nearly torn off. Her designer bag fell from her hand as she stared in horror. My car," she cried. Shock washed all arrogance from her face instantly. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." People rushed over, but only one person moved with certainty, Liam. He walked calmly toward the wrecked car, while Eleanor's hands shook uncontrollably. "It's not safe to go near the glass," he warned gently. She looked at him, stunned. Minutes ago she had insulted him brutally, yet here he was, steady, calm, and willing to help. Lightning crackled again, and she stepped back fearfully. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Liam quickly assessed the damage and spoke softly. "It's bad, but I can salvage some parts, and I'll help you get home safely." Elena stared at him with wide eyes, unable to believe his kindness. "After everything I said, you'd still help me," she whispered. Lightly, he shrugged. "Accidents happen, and people say things they don't always mean." But she knew she had meant every arrogant word. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Her voice trembled as she followed him into the garage for safety. Rain poured outside, thunder shaking the ground. She watched him work with quiet efficiency, calling a tow truck, checking her for injuries, offering her his jacket when she shivered. For the first time, she saw not a poor mechanic, but a man with patience, dignity, and a heart far richer than hers. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Hours later, after the storm settled, Elena's father arrived in a panic. A billionaire himself, he rushed to her side. Then his eyes landed on Liam. His expression softened instantly. "Liam," he said with surprise, "I know your father. He was the most honest mechanic I ever met." Elena's face flushed in shock as her father shook Liam's hand with respect. "And to see us, this is day Tultenraum." Her father listened to the story, growing furious, not at Liam, but at her. "Elena, this man just saved you from a dangerous situation," he scolded, "and you accused him of touching your car." She lowered her head, humiliated and ashamed. Her father sighed and turned to Liam. "Son, whatever the repair costs are, charge double. You earned it." But Liam only smiled. "Just the usual rate, sir." "And they to see us. As her father left to handle insurance, Elena approached Liam slowly. I'm sorry," she murmured, voice trembling. He nodded kindly. "It's all right." But she shook her head. "No, it's not. You showed more character in 1 hour than I did in my whole morning." For the first time she smiled genuinely. "Maybe you can teach me something about humility." "And they to see us. Liam laughed softly, the tension finally lifting. "And maybe," he replied, "you can teach me something about believing in myself." She smiled brighter. "Deal." Something warm stirred between them. Respect, understanding, and something deeper neither had expected. What began as an accusation turned into a lesson and an unexpected connection that fate had crafted overnight.